Yeah, so Keeley, quite interesting. Um, if you guys recall, back when Xbox went ahead and had to shut down some studios, or not really even shut them down because most of them were moved and things like that, and another one was saved. He wrote a tweet, okay, that says Xbox today announced internally it is closing 4 Bethesda studios. 3 years after acquiring the company, Arcane Austin, Tango Gameworks, creators of the Game Award winner Hi-Fi Rush, Alpha Dog, and Roundhouse.
You just hear the enjoyment.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
He's typing that shit out like, I'm going to fucking burn him. Then, fast forward, PlayStation makes an announcement. And what is Jeff Keighley's tweet? Firewalk Studio, the team behind Concord in big bold letters, is being shut down. Interesting. No talk about who's shutting them down.
They shut themselves down.
When they're shutting down. Yeah. When it's shutting down, why it's shutting down, how long? Yo, nothing. And then I think it's here. Hold on. Let me do this. Go. I liked it. Shut down by whom? Shut down by whom?
Yeah, that's awesome. Wow. Let's go.
Oh my God. Oh, all right. Well, yes, obviously this motherfucker's bias is insane. Like, it's crazy that people still try to cap for this dude and act like he's some type of, third party that's just keeping it all neutral. He hosts the Game Awards. There's no bias here. Come on, man. Let's get you guys feelings on this. Fuzzy, I know you're itching. Let's go ahead.
This is the same guy that, like, when there's layoffs at Microsoft or Xbox, he's quick to make posts about it, but when Sony does it, it's crickets. Like, you almost have to like badger him to say anything. And then it's more like, hey, if you know anyone that's hiring for these talented devs, please reach out to them. But no, if it's Xbox, he's like, screw those devs. It's like, hey, Xbox or Microsoft closed them down, and that's all he wrote. Sony does a state of play. He's doing 30 tweets. Xbox does a partner showcase, and it gets like 3 or 4 tweets. But yet, when you rate the shows, even in his own poll, the state of play is like a D or an F. And the even though he's got a lot of Sony fans that follow him, the Xbox one still shows B and above. So I don't know. It's funny. I guess Firewalk shut themselves down. They got tired of their game being shut down, so they just cut off the lights, closed the doors, and fired themselves all of a sudden. Along with the that mobile studio that they wound up shutting down as well. I mean, he wanted to call out every studio as far as Bethesda that Xbox shut down, but Sony shut down several studios and no words, nothing. I mean, even when the building was literally on fire over at Bungie, still nothing. It's like, oh, they can do no wrong. It's just one guy buying a whole bunch of cars, and yeah, he's the problem. Or he won't even say that much because he realizes that was Sony's baby, or that was supposed to be the future along with this game. But apparently PlayStation had nothing to do with it. They Firewalk wrote their own pink slips, fired themselves, and told themselves to get the F out of the building before they sold it off or something. That's the world that Keeley's in at this point. But I never expect him to badmouth Sony, but you don't even have to badmouth Sony. Just say that they closed the studio, much like they pulled the plug on the game. I realize it's obvious, but then he makes it rather clear, even though it's obvious, like with the Bethesda stuff, that was, it came down from Microsoft as far as why those studios were shut down. They didn't make the cut for whatever reason. Something underperformed. They got let go. That's the same case with Firewall. But don't forget, what was it, Deviant Studios? They didn't even own them, and they just pulled the plug on all the funding. Basically, they were relying on that.
Deviation games or something.
No, Deviation. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, they were relying on that Sony funding to make the game, and then when Sony was like, "Yep, we didn't sign the check. We're pulling the plug," those guys went out of business. Like,
Yeah.
It's pretty easy to see, but Keeley will never say anything bad about Sony. Like, he could get his PS5 Pro tomorrow, it fall on his foot, break his toe, and he'd be like, that was the most well-built console ever, well enough to break a bone in my toe or something stupid. But
thank you, Sony. Thank you, Sony.
Right?
Spartan 661, be easy, homie.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. But VGAs, we'll look forward to how Xbox steals the show again, whether it's them showing the handheld or showing another surprise game like Blade or something along those lines. He can't not take the money from Microsoft for them doing the advertising. So yeah, we'll see how Xbox steals the show as far as the attention. But it'd be nice if he just made mention of PlayStation at least once. I don't know.
Dude, my dude didn't even talk about Neon Koi.
Exactly. Where's the breakdown? Neon Koi. Where's the breakdown?
He didn't even mention the other studio.
Yeah, like I said, he will never say an ill word about PlayStation or anything about that organization or any of their characters. It's just no, that Neon Koi, they weren't part of PlayStation. That was a mobile studio. Well, that was under PlayStation. They were trying to get into mobile because they see, that's where Microsoft is headed now with King. Nope. He doesn't believe in mobile games. So yeah, I guess that might explain. Do they even have mobile game awards or any awards on his VGAs for mobile?
They do.
I think they do.
Yeah.
I don't remember any.
I don't either.
Yeah,
it
would make sense if he didn't, but then then again, he did make mention of Alpha Dog, and they were the ones that did the, what was it, Mighty Doom or something like that. So
Mighty Doom,
yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Clear bias, but Xbox tax doesn't exist according to some folks.
Facts. Oh man. Hold on. There was a baby, you sent me that shit.
Yeah, there is a best mobile game, by the way.
Is it? Hold on. I want to get this real quick. I want to read it because here it is right here. Let me read this, okay? You brought up Xbox tax, but I'm gonna forget this and I won't say it, so I want to be able to read it. Space Shop, okay, one of the homies who are here all the time. He sent the message, and I want to read it. He says, great show last night. Had to listen to most of it on the road, no problem. I just wanted to point out that today is a new dawn, and this was on the 25th. Okay, so this was on Friday when
Call of Duty released
when Call of Duty dropped, right? So he says, I just want to point out that today is a new dawn. It is the dawn of the PlayStation tax. We've known about the Xbox tax. The PlayStation tax is the tax that Microsoft receives from all those gamers who believe Game Pass is just renting your games and that you can only play in xCloud and that games are only there for 6 weeks. It's all about Call of Duty player numbers now, because no matter how you play, Microsoft receives revenue. It just depends on if you want the best value in gaming or you want to pay the PlayStation tax.
Damn. Savage indeed, Gun Griffin. Nice. Savage.
Space Shop, that was fire. He's there. The tax man is here.
Let's go.
Bars. I meant to read it the other day, and then
we took a screenshot.
I took a screenshot and everything, and just never read it. But yes, those were bars. Okay, those were bars. Had to read it. Talking about Xbox tax, it just dawned on me. I was like, oh man, you know what? We got to read about that. So Fuzzy, anything else?
No, that's it. I do have to hop off here because my wife is up here yelling at
Staring
me.
at you like this.
But man, this was awesome. Awesome
Thank you
night to
so much
spend
for being here,
Halloween
Fuzzy.
or the Halloween celebration
Our
and
Halloween.
whatnot
Yes.
with you guys. But yeah,
Appreciate it,
definitely
brother.
got to do this again. But greatly appreciate the invite. Always a good time with you guys. Always a good time being on with our a podcast with Hargeet. And nice meeting you as well, Pharaoh.
Yeah, nice good meeting you, Fuzzy.
Yeah, like your takes on this whole situation with with Concord and whatnot. But yeah, this was an awesome show. Thanks to everybody in the chat. Greatly appreciate you guys, and I'm gonna head out. But if you want to hear my rambles and rants on anything gaming related, just follow me on the app formerly known as Twitter at Fuzzy_Belvedere. Thanks again, guys.
Thank you, Fuzzy.
Hey, man,
Always
appreciate
good
you, fam.
rocking out with you, bro.
See you, Fuzzy.
Thank you.
All right,
Absolutely,
y'all have a good night.
Wife text.
Good night.
Later.
Oh my god. All right, baby. What do you think when you see homeboy out here?
I mean, obviously he didn't go ahead and break it down, but I do feel like what I hear here when I see what he writes, right? Firewalk Studios, the team behind Concord, all caps, right, is being shut down. I think he's, in my opinion, the way I'm hearing this, he's putting blame, right? It's our fault that that the studio's shutting down. They made Concord, no one showed up for it. As much as they wanted to go ahead and hype it up and they wanted people to go ahead and support the studio because of what they did, right? Even if the game wasn't good, right? Give it a shot. This is if they go ahead and this game doesn't sell, you're showing that these studios should not take chances on creativity and making something unique or special, right? That's what I'm hearing. I think he's putting blame Concord. That is the game that no one showed up for, and now the studio is being shut down. I think that's the way he's trying to frame it. This is their doing.
Yep.
First off, Firewalk Studios, right? It's their doing. They came up with the concept. They wasted 8 years, right, making this nonsense that just wasn't good enough. The world tried to tell them, they wouldn't listen. That was a decision that they made. And PlayStation, for lack of management. If you should have been on top of this, if the world is speaking about the game that you're going to release, you better freaking listen. These are the gamers, these are the consumers that are going to go ahead and show up with their wallet. They didn't show up. They warned you and you did not listen. So it is what it is. You should have managed. You should have went in there. You should have seen what was going on instead of this toxic positivity that you guys had going on. People were in there afraid to say what they felt about the characters and the game because it was all supposed to just be positive talk, right? You don't talk about Concord. Well, now we don't talk about, well, we do, but no one else out there is talking about, no one's playing Concord. It's fucking dead, right? It is dead. No one's talking about it in the way that you want people to talk about it. It's not making the money that you expected it to make. So it is what it is. I do think that right here, what he's doing is it's emphasizing on the fact that this game was out here. No one showed up for it, rightfully so. But I'm okay with them shutting down this studio. If Concord is what they can come out here and deliver, if it takes them 8 years, over $4 million to go ahead and work on a game, and that's what it turns out to be, they shouldn't be making games. Go explore something else. Gaming is not your thing.
Facts. Farrell, what do you think, man?
Oh, as far as Keeley goes, I'm not surprised. This is typical behavior by him. But the whole Concord thing, if you were really learning from your experience, like who does a beta for a brand new IP 30 days before the launch of a game? Like before the launch of the game, like, and you're not veterans in live service. That game deserved a 2-year beta. Like legitimately, it deserved to be in beta for 2 years. Like kind of like how Baldur's Gate was. Like Baldur's Gate was out years before it actually released. They had early access. You could preview it. You can kind of help with the development of the game. Like, Sony failed that game because we should have had our hands on that game well before it actually released, so we could actually work with Firewalk and tell them why their game is a piece of shit. And maybe when the open beta came out, maybe you would have had more than 2,000 people. But it's like, what is Sony doing right at the moment? Like, it just feels so messy over there right now. And I can't tell you I have any legitimate confidence that Ghost of Yote. I don't have any confidence that their single player games are going to be good at the moment. Just with the way things are going. Spider-Man 2 was a big drop off from Miles Morales and Spider-Man 1. I mean, Ragnarok, big drop off from God of War 2018. So Horizon was the only one that was better than, Forbidden West was better than Zero Dawn, but other than that, it hasn't been good over there. So I have no confidence in PlayStation first party at the moment. They've shown me nothing that I should have confidence in them right now.
Feel that, man. I feel that, bro. Hargeet.
Well, I'm not going to pile on anybody, but I'll point out some oddities here. First, Roundhouse wasn't closed, as we know, right? Roundhouse was just, they were already supporting ESO, and they just said, you know what? Instead of focusing on another game, you're just going to support ESO.
They were absorbed into another studio.
So just keep doing that. You're just going to do that, right? And ultimately, Tango was sold off. Fair enough that was one of the ones that was being shut down. Alpha Dog, who cares? Arcane Austin, I'm sorry, they kind of deserved it. It is what it is.
And most of them did go. A lot of them did stay with the company.
So, yeah, they stayed.
Remember, Arcane is not closed, right?
Yeah, it isn't.
Austin is a location, but Arcane exists. And before it was just Arcane. They split Arcane, and all they did was bring it back together and got rid of the dead weight.
The separate development team that did like their own games. Yeah,
exactly. They don't need that anymore. Now they have enough studios under Xbox umbrella, right? One studio is all they need. One focus.
So as far as like the normalcy of what happens here, I've pointed this to Jeff just as a learning, like it's clear you have too much of a bias in one direction. And if you want to grow to something bigger than where you are now, you kind of need to stop doing it. It just needs to stop being this blatant. Maybe this is the right step, right? Not pointing it out this way, but if you're gonna put it out that way for one, you're gonna have to put it out that way for the other. You're just gonna have to claim it the way Firewalk was also acquired. Neon Koi was also acquired. They were acquired in the last few years. You could say the same exact things. PlayStation today announced internally it is closing 2 of their studios that they acquired over the last several years. One of them is Firewalk that just recently released Concord that did not seem to resonate with players. And then the other one was Neon Koi that never got to put out their game, something along those lines, right? If you're going to be this descriptive about one, then you're going to have to be descriptive about the other. And I'd wish you would just learn that lesson, but it's not cool to try to be an ambassador of gaming and be a fanboy. It's just not, you can't do it. You just can't do it.
I agree with that. 1,000%.
You need to be above the fray. Like, I admit I'm a fanboy, but I'm not trying to be the Game Awards. That's not I'm not doing that. Right. So if you're going to be the ambassador of gaming, you're trying to be the E3 replacement. You gotta stop.
You gotta change your tune. Yeah.
You gotta stop this. But hey, it is what it is. We can't change the man. He's gonna have to learn himself, and I hope he does. We could use somebody at that level, and having them be unbiased, just clearly unbiased would be nice. But
I mean, it would just be hidden. It wouldn't be like we already know who he is. We already know what he stands for. We know, yeah.
But no matter what, right? We can say, hey, I'm unbiased. Reality is we're all biased. It's just the way it is. We all understand that, right? But you have to have the appearance of it. You have to try to say, I'm not going to appear that way. I'm going to be as fair as I can to all, the competitors in this arena, right? whether
Yeah.
I happen to have a preference or not. And it's just the way it is, right? In everything, though, all of us are biased. That's just the way it is. It's just life. We get it. I get that, right? But he's clearly, like, there's just no denying it. It's just clear bias, and you have to be better than that, right? If you're going to be an ambassador of gaming, you have to grow. You have to go beyond this. I hope he learns that lesson. I don't know if he does. I think he takes it as like criticism, and then he says, "Oh, these are bad people, and I'm going to block them." So it's like, dude, like, you have to learn. You just have to learn.
Yeah.
I don't know why people around him don't tell him that. Like, they should. Like, dude, you can't be doing this. And maybe they do, and he just ignores it. That's also a possibility,
Very
right?
much.
But I don't know. I don't know what else to say about that. Like, it's disappointing to me. It really is, because we could really use somebody at this level that is trying to play fair and trying to be the next step of E3, right? But he's not going to be there. He can't if this keeps happening. It's just nobody's going to trust him. You can't be like this. You have to be unbiased and as fair as possible, right? You can't play favorites. It's a simple thing, like you might say, well, he only hates Xbox, so whatever. Xbox has partners. What if the game is, I want to take BioShock and show that, and Take Two's like, you said, what about Xbox? What? Well, that's a partner of ours, and yeah, we didn't appreciate that. You just lose that, right? Why would you want that? You probably lost games like Dragon Age for the fact that you kept piling on Xbox, and EA's like, well, the hell with you, Jeff. We're gonna go to Xbox's stage then, right? You have to think about these things, right? This is the problem. If you want to play that level of E3, you can't play favorites. You just can't. You can't have that appearance. It's going to cause you problems. And Microsoft is a behemoth company that partners with literally everyone, including Sony. You have to know that. You can't play these kind of games. It's like, all right, keep doing this. You're just not going to grow. And that's just sad for you, bud. Like, I hope you do learn the lessons, but it doesn't appear like you are. That's just
true.
bad.
It's true. And just so you understand, guys, because I know people suggest that Xbox shouldn't put their shit on Jeff Keighley's stage. Understand that Microsoft is smart. They're using him, right? Doesn't matter what he says about them, doesn't matter anything, because the people who are watching the show are not sitting there on Twitter fucking following Jeff and doing this shit. The majority of people are just fucking watching the game show that popped up on YouTube, right? They know about it, they hear about it, it goes out there. And
I'm
Xbox
sure
just
he
takes advantage
wishes
of the
that he
views,
didn't
man.
have to deal. The way that he can't even say the name like Xbox, it's painful to him. He kind of wished that he didn't have to deal with that, and the fact that they have the money to go ahead and do whatever they want, it has to be bothersome for somebody who is such an obvious fan of PlayStation. So man.
True. It's
But
true,
yeah, you
man.
got to use that stage. You got to show up and use it to your benefit. That's what you have to do. They stole the show last year. They're going to do the same this year. And it's not
Yeah.
about Jeff.
Can't
It's
wait.
not about it's about the stage and the amount of eyes that are on that show at the time.
Agreed.
Xbox is the only
Agreed.
one that's making that show worth watching right now. Because
Absolutely. I agree with
Isn't
that.
it funny, like the dynamic between Xbox and Jeff and Xbox and PlayStation? Like Xbox, the only one makes their show worthwhile over on Jeff Keighley's stage. Apparently, Xbox is one of the only games that people actually play over there. When you look at Call of Duty, Minecraft, Sea of Thieves, right? Xbox, as much as these people hate them, they're relying on them,
yeah, because I mean,
right?
all
And
the
that's
all,
why they hate them on top of it. Because they know they got to give. Imagine being PlayStation and you look at all your gross, right? And you're like, we did pretty good gross wise. And now I got to start writing checks to everyone that gets their cut of our gross. And imagine the fat fucking check that Microsoft gets every single month from Sony, bro. Like, there's no way to go around it, bro. I know what it feels like to write checks when you don't want to. This is clearly the biggest bitch for them is saying, God damn, I only keep 30% of this shit. Fuck.
Yeah.
Which I keep
Okay.
hearing is 20%, and I don't know how valid that is, but whatever.
Well, I mean,
You better
listen, if
not
they
be a
come out, if
minute
somebody
late,
says
Ethan.
it, exactly.
Last I heard, it was from Florian Miller. That he read it in some of the proceedings, and I don't know if that's true. I don't know.
I don't know.
Still 80-20, then feel sorry for Sony.
Yeah, I mean,
That's a
either
rough
way.
deal.
Yeah.
I recall it
It's
being
the right
Well,
deal because it's Call of Duty.
If you
Yeah.
keep it in perspective, Jim Ryan lost pretty bad when he lost to the FTC. So we don't know what he signed after he lost that FTC case. And, you know, his back was pretty much to the wall and guaranteeing that he would keep Call of Duty for the next 10 years. So it may have been 30% up. You know, that was probably the deal that Microsoft offered him originally. But
Yeah.
once their back was against the wall, it could have been 80-20.
Maybe. And that would be gangster as fuck of Xbox to go back and be like, you know what? The fuck you will. You're taking this 20%. You just be happy you're keeping this fucking thing.